Another week, another Ren rant about TBATE. You guys actually seem to know this guy, huh? I mean, he's a pretty sizable creator on TikTok, and that video we made last week, a lot of people were like, let's go, I love this guy. And you know what? I like his rants too. What are we gonna complain about today? Hopefully, the bullshit that happened in the most recent episode.
Another week brings another botched TBATE episode. At this point in the comics, Arthur is visiting the Helsty auction house for the first time, where he meets the King of Sapin himself, King Glader. The Leywins and the Helsties are sharing the auction house booth with the Gladers, and it's here that Arthur first meets the court mage that's trying to take Sylvie away from him. The anime, on the other hand, does not have Arthur meet the king first before the court mage tries to take Sylvie away.
Interesting, yeah, because the court mage in the anime, it made it seem like he was just kind of wandering around and found Sylvie, right? And he was very creepy about it. In the source material, the fact that we already met the king, I wonder what kind of like precedence that sets. Does it really change anything? Right? To have this guy wander around and kind of be creepy and to find Arthur, I guess antagonizes him more versus a setting where we already met the king and the court mage is like doing that action in front of the king. The anime made it look like the court mage was kind of like hiding his behavior, right? I don't know if that was in the source material, but in the anime, it made it look like he's just diddling behind the scenes and he doesn't want the king to know. But in the source material, if it's truly, right, it kind of feels like he did that shit in front of the king.
Gladers, and it's here that Arthur first meets the court mage that's trying to take Sylvie away from him. The anime, on the other hand, does not have Arthur meet the king first before the court mage tries to take Sylvie away. They just randomly run into each other in a hallway, and the court mage starts blasting magic at Arthur, trying to threaten him.
That was fucking crazy. Now, I don't know how much this really, like, changes things. The guy was already planning to get Sylvie from before the auction. Okay. I'm just thinking, like, does it really add or take away anything if you know, where we meet the court mage really matters? But in the anime, when he started blasting, not just one, by the way, 2 fucking fire blasts, Arthur didn't flinch. That was a kind of a cool scene, but it was also comical of like, damn, you really trying to kill this kid over a pet, huh? It's not a normal pet though, obviously.
Him to give up Sylvie. Now in the webcomic, this happens in the VIP room, which means Arthur's bloodlust is contained to that one room.
Oh! Wait. I mean, we already checked out the Super Extras video, right? Where we talked about how, like, the bloodlust scene, it was contained. Like, the windows didn't shatter, and Reynolds also was able to figure out, wait, but if it happened in the VIP room, wouldn't they not be able to... Because, like, in the manhwa, we caught a random dude, and Reynolds was kind of, like, safe from that. We sacrificed a random dude. If we did the bloodlust in the VIP room, wouldn't everyone kind of be aware that Arthur is the one that did it?
It's contained to that one room. The anime, however, has Arthur's bloodlust basically affect the entire auction house, causing everybody to evacuate.
And here is, I don't think it's even a hot take. Isn't this cooler? Isn't this a greater, like, authority of power being presented and a more like a hype moment? I really enjoyed the scene. I don't care if the windows didn't shatter in the source material now. Now, there are moments that actually does matter. Like, for example, the last time, I think Ren mentioned that Arthur is an augmenter. Him using the water stuff as a conjurer contradicts the power mechanics in TBATE as of right now in the anime. And that's kind of bullshit, which I agree with. This, though, the window shattering the entire auction house, yeah, the scale of the bloodlust affecting a bigger area, maybe that is contradicting what Arthur's power is really supposed to be at this current moment. But to me, as an anime only, I love that scene.
Now in the webcomic, this situation is quickly resolved as Arthur's father captures an intruder that they actually thought was releasing that bloodlust.
Poor guy, man. I hope, like... So what's the idea, though? They, like, caught a random dude, and they're like, yep, this is the guy that did it. But, like, you don't expect a random dude to be able to portray that kind of power, right? Because in the manhwa, I saw the random culprit that we sacrificed. He looked like a random NPC. Wouldn't they, like, wonder, huh, how the fuck did this guy have this much power to, like, intimidate?
Allowing the auction to continue without any problems. The anime takes this in the exact opposite direction by having Arthur's dad not catch the intruder and get punished by the king for...
That's right. The punishment, it was a very unfortunate, like, leverage that the king's faction side had in terms of trying to, like, deal with Arthur and trying to get the the pet away. That did suck.
Some reason. This results in the court mage requesting to the king that Arthur give up Sylvie to him. And wow, turns out TBATE actually got something right in the anime for once. I know, shocker. Arthur's conversation with the king is exactly the same way that it is in the webcomic.
That's great. I enjoyed the entire dialogue. I loved how Arthur, and it was like a conversation between two kings. And maybe I could assume that Arthur is a better king than... Nah, I don't know. Better is a very subjective term, right? I feel like if we're talking about how the people of Sapin love this king, I think that obviously this guy does a better job. I don't think King Gray's reputation was any good at all, right? He was just like living as a fucking dictator and just afraid for assassinations and stuff like that. But in terms of the conversation between the two kings and the way that Arthur was slightly condescending, rightfully so, countering back and saying, what's the price you would put on your kid? I love that scene.
However, what happens when Arthur pops his time stop is not. Now, right off the bat, you might think this looks good, but they didn't even bother animating Arthur breaking the guy's...
Yeah, I know. And absolutely, it is a shame. Even the attacks that happened before this with the two knights, garbage. At this point, I have zero expectations for the animation. That's why I'm not surprised at this point. But yes, it is absolute garbo here.
His leg. He just looks at it and the leg breaks.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate because sometimes, because of the lack of animation, you don't even know exactly what happened, right? Because like, in the manhwa comparison, now that I've seen it, you can see Arthur moving really fast and twisting the guy's leg. In the anime, I was like, did he use his mind? Was that like... some sort of like psychic power? What the fuck just happened? That's the issue when, again, you don't animate anything and you just show the outcomes of how things happen.
Looks at it and the leg breaks. And then typical Arthur aura.
Yeah, and thank God that Sylvie was giving us the side profile here. Because if it was the front profile, it would look so cringe.
While this episode was done better than most, they're still changing things for absolutely no reason and not even bothering to animate action scenes.
Yeah, at this point, not even animating action scenes, absolutely, it is the biggest complaint that we can be making, but it does get redundant, so I'm like, I have no expectations. If they deliver some Blue Lock Season 2 finale shit where maybe there's some insane fight that happens near the end of the season or something, and I'm like, all right, cool. But until that happens, I have zero expectations, so I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. It's a garbage fucking anime for an animation standpoint, but an anime is more than just the animation. There's obviously voice acting, soundtrack, direction of the story, and so on, and I feel like those parameters are being handled pretty decently well, at least from an anime only perspective. Obviously the anime only like changes also. It does not really make sense. Like Ren mentioned about the duel against the head mistress of the academy being cut in the last episode, but now it looks like we're going to have it, you know, in the next episode. So there is like an order of operation changes going on. I wonder how these changes are being made, if they're even talking to Turtle Me and thinking about like, yo, should we actually like remove these events and put it somewhere later for some sort of consistency, or I don't know, but they seem to be doing a lot of changes. Is it adding to the story? I'm not sure. I feel like a lot of the changes that happened the last episode too, right, with the merchants dealing, where instead of the moms pulling up and flexing on the merchant, we instead had just like the kids of the academy kind of get antagonized, right? There are definitely things that I'm kind of just like, I wish we had that in the source. And even in this episode, the way that like our moms were talking to the queen as well, and the queen had like a wand and stuff like that, there's definitely like missing context that I think is, it's unfortunate that it's not in the anime. I feel like it would give more to it, right? All right, let's check it out. Can I see the comments? God damn it. Can we do this one time this time? Come on. Come on. Careful. No! Yo! No! Go back and check that! Come on! Are you fucking kidding me? Yo! No, come on! That's bullshit! That was the perfect count! Okay, let's do this again. Bird. That looks pretty good, right? That looks pretty good, right? I swear to God, bro. I was slightly off. The legs were slightly off. Ah, fuck that, bro. Why do they think they know better than the manhwa? Because they don't. I refuse to watch this, and you probably shouldn't. I've seen the anime from 2000 with more animation frames than TBATE. Yeah, I think that just because it's an old anime doesn't mean that it's gonna have less frames. Did they deviate from the manhwa again? They always do. Ew, I'm not touching that. Let's see. It's just bad. It needs a remake. It just makes me sad every week. Yeah, I mean, I don't think TBATE's ever gonna get a remake, though. Who knows what's gonna happen with that. He just looks at it and the leg breaks. Yeah, they did that shit again. He straight up just looks at it and the leg just gets twisted, and I'm like, what the fuck's happening, bro? Suffering is almost done. Only 2 episodes left to go. So is TBATE literally only 12 episodes? No, it's 2 cores, right? It's 2 cores. First core is already done, and the second core I think is coming out, right? Later, I don't know when. I can't believe they abandoned the Cynthia Arthur fight scene. I think this is the head mistress. That's gonna happen next episode. Lamau, I stopped watching episode 1. Y'all still going? I want to see the train trek. They ruined one of my favorite moments in the series. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be upset. But hey, at this point, getting mad at TBATE is just... I choose to have fun with it, right? There's no point being upset and frustrated every time. It's just like, what did you expect? We're expecting garbage at this point, so set aside the expectations and just kind of laugh along with it. Please go check out Ren Rants, though. Here is the video. Go give it a like and check out his other content. Maybe spoilers included. I don't know. I feel like he covers a lot of different things that maybe you don't want to get spoiled by. But there it is. See you next time.